American Baker in Germany, where the ingredients are German and the baker is American. I'm Michelle, and today we are making a cake for a friend of mine for her son's 4th birthday, and he is a big Paw Patrol fan. So this is usually when I make Paw Patrol cake, it's for my daughter, so they're very girly Paw Patrol cakes. This is my first boyish Paw Patrol cake, so let's get started.
I started out using this Paw Patrol logo cutter to make the Paw Patrol logo. I used the largest cutter to cut some white fondant to use as the background. Then I rolled some red fondant and used the shield cutter to cut it out, and placed it on the background. Then I rolled out some dark blue fondant and cut out the bone. It took 2 attempts. I rolled out some yellow fondant and used the larger letter cutters to cut out the word paw. Then I rolled out some light blue fondant and used the smaller letter cutters to cut out the word paw again. Then I rolled out some white fondant and cut out the smaller bone. Make sure that it gets deep enough to make an impression of the word patrol on it. I also cut out a tiny paw for the center of the A. And I used some blue food coloring mixed with clear alcohol to paint the word patrol onto the white bone. And I set it aside. Next, I want to make a 2D figure of Chase. If you need a more clear tutorial on how this technique is done, see the link in the card. I started out by cutting out a large circle of white fondant to act as the background. Then I used a pointed sculpting tool to trace around the lighter brown of Chase's face to make an impression onto the brown fondant. Then I cut out the eyes. And I placed it on the background. I cut out his blue hat and placed it on the background. I cut out the darker brown pieces and placed them where they go. I added pink to the ears. Added white to the eyes. I added brown eyes. And black pupils. With a tiny white catchlight. And a black triangular nose. I added a yellow stripe to the hat. I painted on some black food coloring for the eyes, eyebrows, mouth, and shield on the hat. And I added a white paw on the hat. And I made a 2D figure of Marshall, another white circle for the background. I pressed in the shape of Marshall's face as well as details. And I made a red hat. I added the yellow stripes on Marshall's hat. I added blue eyes. And black pupils and nose. I also added Marshall's camera lens on the side of his hat. Is it a camera lens? I painted lines and spots on Marshall's face as well as the shield on the hat. I corrected the mouth a bit since the line ended up a bit thick. And don't forget the catch lights in the eyes. Now, 9 minutes in, we're finally at cake. This is vegan chocolate cake with white chocolate ganache. And my friend's child really wanted strawberries inside the cake. His birthday is in December, not exactly strawberry season, so I was unable to find fresh strawberries. So I bought frozen strawberries, sliced them into pieces, and allowed them to completely thaw. Then I used paper towels to absorb as much water as I could get out of them, and I placed them inside the cake. I dabbed the strawberries with more white chocolate ganache to help it stick to the next layer. I frosted the cake with white chocolate ganache. And I cleaned up the cake board. I rolled out some white fondant and covered the cake with it. It was just a bit short on one side, so I gently tugged it down and smoothed it in that direction to encourage the fondant to stretch to the bottom of the cake. I cut off the excess with a knife. And I cleaned up the cake board again. I rolled out some blue fondant into a strip, and I wrapped it around the bottom of the cake. I placed the logo and the two figures on top of the cake. I was hoping to place the figures onto the side, but they were just a bit too tall. I got out the letters to spell the name Tim with the number 4. I rolled out some red fondant and used the cutters to cut out the name and number. Then I rolled them gently to make them just a bit bigger than the cutters. Then I did the same thing with yellow fondant, and I placed the yellow one on top of the red. I placed the age in the middle between the figures and the name as centered as possible on the side. Then I rolled out all of the primary colors and cut out several small hearts and lots of tiny circles so I could make paws to go around the side. To make the paws, turn the hearts upside down and place either 3 or 4 circles above it. 4 is more realistic, but Paw Patrol generally uses 3. I am really happy with this cake. The bright primary colors are perfect for small children and the figures are recognizable. Tim was really happy with it. Happy birthday, Tim! For more cakes and recipes, visit our website at AmericanBakerInGermany.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe for a new cake every week. Support us on Patreon and hit the notification bell to be the first to know when we upload a new video.